Hi everyone, it's really great to be here this evening. My name's Adam and this is Aaron, and we work at Technology Will Save Us. Aaron is our kind of head of product and I'm our lead visual communications designer. So just a quick background on the kind of origins of the company, which actually, funny enough, started in a bin in Hackney, where our CEO and co-founder actually found a laptop. And this laptop was in kind of perfectly good working order. It had Windows XP and a charger and a case, kind of all ready to go. And this really kind of sparked the conversations that the company is really kind of built upon, which are around that we have so much technology around us in our everyday lives, but kind of no idea how it really works, and so how to fix it, and kind of really no idea of how to fully utilize it. So we see technology as much more of a tool for creativity, as I'm sure a lot of you here as designers and makers will do as well. But much more widely, it's kind of a medium for consumption. And this is where we kind of really interject with the world by pushing the idea of learning through doing and making, which has led us to create a range of DIY gadget kits to really spark the creativity of young people through hands-on technology. So we have kits like the Electrodo kit, which you can make and kind of build circuits using conductive dough. We have other kits like the DIY Gamer kit, which you solder together a range of components, and then you can then play and code your own video games. And although this kind of pedagogy, if you like, of learning and doing through making, has always kind of been at our core, the way we've sort of manifested and interacted with the world has very much evolved over the lifespan of the company. And a really clear way to kind of see this evolution is through our brand, and more specifically our packaging. So up here over on the right, you'll see our very first sets of packaging. And at this time, we're very much a workshop-based company, using these kits of electronic parts to teach people skills like soldering and electronics through making the kits in facilitated workshops. The packaging itself, as you can see, it's very simple. It was really easy to produce. We're making it in Bethany's kitchen, and it's very much of an aesthetic of this kind of DIY tech kind of maker world. And so although kind of really extremely effective and much loved in that community, we're really addressing our sort of early adopters. And these are people generally who kind of have an interest or connection to this world of kind of tinkering and making. And so from listening to these customers and kind of finding out who these people were, we found a lot of them were in education and wanted these kits for education. And which is really, we just weren't addressing what these people wanted, which is really kind of where our next phase here kind of began. And this was to really open up the opportunity of learning, of teaching these skills to a wider, less kind of entwined community. And that community was very much education in schools and makerspaces and clubs. And this really kind of threw up a lot of design challenges for us. So taking these workshop-ready kits and producing a product that we could send into the world and kind of be facilitated by people who may have never held a soldering iron or have used a circuit board. And it really came down to expanding our kind of resources around the kits, and designing them in a much more kind of playful and engaging way for these environments to use. So from digital animation software to draw things on screen, and it interacts with the kit you just built, or lesson plans and games for these people to use. And the kind of key insights we were getting back from that were that kids really wanted to take this stuff home. They wanted to do more with technology on their kind of own time. And that sort of brings us into where Technology Will Save Us is now. And we kind of really form around the phrase of 21st century learning around the kitchen table. And the image on the right here, shows what we think is kind of a brand that really reflects and kind of enhances that idea, combining excitement and fun with skills and learning. And it sort of manifests itself in bright colors and bold graphics that kind of really differentiate from kind of existing learning tools, and kind of has really opened up access for us into other retail spaces that previously we wouldn't have been able to address. So places like MoMA or the Science Museum or the Conrad stores. And it kind of really allows completely different audiences to engage with technology and kind of join this making community.
So in the product area, we have three things that we do. We're responsible for the kits, for the content, and also for the digital experiences. And it means that we're crossing a range of things, and we needed to understand better what our customers were doing when they're acquired through retail and when they're being acquired through our e-commerce site, which is a really different kind of business than we were as a workshop company, where it's a one-to-many message, you've got things in front of you, it's frenetic, and the output is really exciting. What we've done is an enormous amount of research to organize ourselves in two ways. And this is our consumer journey, which we're happy to share. It's the process that we intend to make sure that our touch points are connected with. So customers discover, and what are the objectives in that discovery phase? What are they trying to do, and what do we need to help them to do? And we do it all the way through the rest. And the bit that digital really covers well is the learning part. So when you are making things, what resources do you need? Videos, manuals, and all the rest of it. And it's taken us into a digital world, but it's brought us back to the brand and the experience around the packaging. So mapped to the consumer journey, discover, read from your left to right on the top row. Discovery is, we have this box here. This is the back of the box up there on your top left. And the back of the box doesn't help you to discover anything about it. In fact, when we put it in customers' hands, we often find they look at it and say, well, can I make everything that's on the back with what's inside of the box? And what we've done instead is made it a lot clearer what the benefits are and tried to get a language that's part of our brand and our sort of positioning out into the world a little bit better. And the second thing is the inside flap, which is this bit here. This did more work, and it used this language of make, learn, play, and invent. But what we know is that people will buy our kits because they think they're fun, with learning as a byproduct. They'll buy it because they think they might learn, but what they really want to do is make, and that's the piece that we have to get across. So the messaging now is very simple. Part of making is preparing, and preparing is making the dough. And the dough is possibly one of the best things that you can do when you're using electrodough, and you start lighting up the LEDs and having fun and understanding what it is you're getting into.
Cool. Yeah, so we thought we would share this with you as well, which is a kind of in-process working drawing of a space we're actually opening in Selfridges next week in the toy department. It's a really great example of how the brand and the packaging design kind of manifest out in the world. And this is, as I said, very much a work in progress, but we really wanted to allow the kind of design decisions that Aaron was just talking to in the packaging there, and let them kind of come through into this physical space, not only with the brand's kind of bright colors and graphic treatments, but also things like the kind of benefits-led tone of voice, pick your kit, learn great skills, and make awesome gadgets. We also wanted the space to really kind of reflect the engaging and kind of hands-on nature of the product, not only to kind of inform, but also to excite and kind of bring a buzz around the space. So we're running our DIY electrodough workshops there throughout the time, so people can build these circuits and creations, as well as what you can see around the edge of the screen here to the right, which are actually some early drawings of some of the interactive demos that we're creating for this space. And these take into account what we call the kind of the super graphics on the packaging, and really kind of extrude these into 3D forms that serve to kind of make a connection to the kits, but also to kind of encapsulate the actual products themselves within them, kind of, well, to protect them, but also to kind of complete this sort of visual cycle from packaging to a product and back to kind of the way it's displayed. And these are really kind of works in progress, but we're kind of searching for this balance in the demos that could have been made, so they look like they could have possibly been made by members of our community, so they kind of interact with them a bit more, but also make them objects that are desirable and kind of withstand this retail environment. And we're really kind of doing this by building upon insights from not only from Selfridges, our retail team, and also things we've learned on the way in producing kits in retail, as well as kind of utilizing our in-house designers and developers to really kind of find the edges of what's possible and to be really successful in this space and make it as engaging as possible through the technology.
And so with a team of makers in the business, we thought, in addition to these kinds of things that we actually produce up the street in Hackney, give you a look at some of the things that we might be thinking about doing next. 2 projects that we're sort of working through. If we are a kit company, it's about projects, about hands-on technology. One of the things we've been interested in doing is trying to understand what we can do for kids sort of 7 to 11. A lot of the things in that space are really screen-based. You go into the computer, and that space just isn't that interesting and compelling, especially if you put something in their hands. The physical is so much more compelling. So this balance of helping them to manifest code in the real world is Pop Kits up on the top left. That's a technology strategy board grant. It's currently in research. We've got about 300 units that are out in the market, and we're getting feedback from code clubs and developers and teachers and all sorts. But you use block-based programming. We have our own proprietary way of transferring the information to our POP, and then you can actuate and run servos and do things. So you do it here, and it does it out there, and it's really cool. The last is a piece that you'll hear more about, and this is what's been published. This is the BBC's microbit. They're launching it in June of this year, and they've come to us. We're the only part that's doing this, along with big companies like ARM and Microsoft. It's a little Hackney startup, but what we're responsible for is the form factor and the out-of-box experience. So really, what is this device when you open it? What is it doing to you? How are we encouraging the 12-year-olds? There will be 1 million 12-year-olds that get this next fall. And what will they be doing? What process will they be going through to learn and unpack? And how can we take this cool stuff with code and make it awesome in the physical world? And in June, July, you'll see some announcements from the BBC. Remember this thing here, this geeky, techie, hard, and think about what you might see in the summer, and hopefully you'll want one as much as we do. But thanks for your time. Have a good evening.